just takes the stress out of the situation. Go ahead and get some aftermarket box sliders. Okay, today we're going to look at, we're going to give you an update on all the damage to the car from being on bumpy roads out here. We live off-road. We're going to talk about the sunroof update. So I had to Mickey Mouse repair the sunroof. The sunroof broke, the hood broke, and some other stuff broke. We're also going to talk about these Tokiko stock shocks down here. But let's start with the sunroof, and we'll go over the update, because a lot of people have been asking essentially what's been going on with the sunroof. So if we look up here, this sunroof sheared off, so the bracket. So here's an L bracket here, and it's just the L bracket, and it connects the sunroof. So the glass is connected to the frame, and then there's an L bracket here. It broke off. Now in the past, Toyota used 3. As you can see here, there's one here and one here. So in these GX460s, somewhere along the line, they decided to do anti-Kaizen and step down to 2. I added a third one that you can see here. See this screw here? It's another L bracket, and I know there's a lot of Mickey Mouse, JB Weld, and nonsense going on, but that is holding up. That's the bottom line. To update everybody, this has been holding up. Did the same on this side here. You can see I can move the sunroof. These brackets are still all held in. So what I did was basically add 3. 1, 2, 3. Everything's holding up. Okay. But the old Toyotas, the old Land Cruisers had 3. I don't know why Toyota went down to 2. So why did that happen, you might ask? Again, we live in the desert, and we live on washboard roads, not dirt roads. And you know, a lot of people go, well, those are just dirt roads out there. No, it's like concrete washboard. That's what you got to imagine. And it's concrete washboard, everything's bouncy. You get what I'm rambling. So you can see here hood pins. So the Lexus dealer did not adjust the little rubber, black rubber bumpers under here right out of the dealer. So this hood fluttered, and it sheared off the striker, you know, that U-shaped, you know, the striker that meets the latch. So that sheared off. It had to be welded. Added these hood pins to help secure it down even more, but I ended up taking those out because once I adjusted the hood properly, I found so far that I don't need the hood pins. So bottom line, Lexus just didn't adjust that correctly, and I didn't catch it in enough time. Let's take a look at these Tokiko shocks. That's another thing that people ask, you know, out here on the bumpy roads, how are your Tokiko stock shocks holding up? And I am a proponent, a big proponent of the stock Tokiko shocks, and I'll show you why here. Let me get down on the ground and you'll see what I'm talking about. So down here is your Tokiko shock. Look at that. These are made in Japan. People say, why didn't you upgrade your shocks? They're already upgraded. These are Tokikos. Back in the day, everybody used to want Tokiko shocks as aftermarket shocks. When you pay for a Land Cruiser, in this case a GX, Land Cruiser Prado, you get what I'm rambling. Anything in the Land Cruiser family, FJ Cruiser, anything, you get Tokiko shocks. They're already good. There's 0 leaks on these shocks, and they are abused like crazy. And so I cannot believe how well these things hold up. I just can't believe it. There should, normally on these roads, people blow out the shocks, the oil's leaking, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm rambling. These are the real deal. They still dampen, they still control the spring, just like they're new. Now back there you can see the frame-mounted bump stop. That's been a subject recently, because on the new, let's take another look on the new Tacomas and the new 4Runners. You're not going to get these awesome frame-mounted bump stops. So this is your frame, obviously. This is the front of your ladder frame. Then you have a protrusion here, and then you have this tried and true big beefy frame mounted bump stop right here. There's the rubber, and then this is your big, juicy lower control arm. So this is a Land Cruiser Prado, and on this is its own frame. Before TNGAF, this was its own frame. So on the new TNGAF, the Land Cruiser 300 gets 2 of these frame mounted ones, but this one was a smaller Land Cruiser. So it only needed one. Your 4Runner, Tacomas, Tundras, all the same. And the new Tacomas don't have this anymore. The shock up there has to have a bump stop and is on bump stop duty. The reason why these shocks last forever is because they're never on bump stop duty. This thing, when you're off-road, is banging against the control arm, never against the shock body. So this, people go, Ford does bump stops up there, so it shouldn't be a problem on the new 24 Tacomas and the new 25 4Runners. It shouldn't be a problem because Ford, that's nice in Ford world, but Toyota buyers are used to this stuff lasting forever. So it might be impressive if you have a Ford and you go, it's fine. Well, fine for Ford is 30,000 miles before the shocks fail. Fine for a Toyota file means those things need to last on washboard roads forever. Now this is the other thing that rattled loose that people want to know about, and that is this trim piece here. Stupid carbon fiber trim piece and this snow globe diorama of a light. This clipped in down there. Hard to see maybe, but I'll show you what it's supposed to look like over here. So just to get that stupid little carbon fiber nonsense, it's just clipped in, and the clips aren't very big, and it popped loose on the roads around here. And so it's like a googly eye, kid's googly eye. So that's the third thing. So that is it. That is it. So this thing has lived a rough life off-road. Again, since brand new, it's always off-road. And when we talk about off-road, people say, well, with lifts and light bars and all this nonsense, the wheel spacers and, you know, air actuated lockers, and none of that matters out here. What matters and what happens out here is, under this quote severe duty, is you get a lot of abuse insofar as this vibration banging up and down the road constantly. And so none of that stuff I mentioned matters. What happens to people's cars out here is all sorts of weird stuff breaks. It doesn't matter what we're talking about, a Ford F-150, a Ford F-250, a Jeep Wrangler. I know people with all those vehicles around here, and you name it, it breaks. So all sorts of weird stuff. The lights break, the tail lights break, the latches break. That's what happens when you're on these roads every day. Again, not dirt, but concrete washboard roads that are unique to the Mojave Desert, perhaps. I'm sure it's elsewhere, but it is unique to this area out here. And so it kind of puts this car through a unique type of usage, in my opinion, because I don't think washboard roads like this exist elsewhere in the world. Every desert is different. Every type of dirt is different. You know, dirt here is different from dirt there, and you know, this desert on the other side of the world is different from this desert. And you know, it's just really crappiness. Now, the tires is the other thing. You're riding on your tires, so we don't worry about tires for traction and nonsense like that. These all-terrains are not mud tires. They offer about maximum 10% more traction, and that's simply being nice. In reality, it's probably 5%. The reason why we have BFG KO2s is for the durability. So it's a tough tire, and I'm holding out on the full review till these tires are dead and gone. But so far, so good. They're a very good tire. It's tried and true. What's important is it's a desert tire, so it's for out here. It says down there, upside down, the Baja Champion, because it won the Baja 500, 1000, I forget which one. One of those desert races in Mexico. in the, I always forget the desert below the Mojave, but that desert down there. And they're tough because out here, as you can see, there's a plug right there. We've probably got 5 plugs in this tire, and it's one there. There's another one there. Okay, and you know, I could go on and on and on about how many plugs. I'm saying my point of this rambling is this is what we deal with out here. It's not what tire you're going to get for traction. There's the plug there. You know, we've probably got 10 plugs in between all this. So it's got to be tough. It's not about traction and grip and things like that. So I won't count all the plugs, but that's why we have those tires. That's the stuff that happens out here. Stuff rattling apart and tires breaking. Now these sidewalls on these BFG KO2s are very amazing. Again, I'll give a full review when they're done, but this is just some Permatex right stuff nonsense. But I went up Gold Crown and we have torn this sidewall. So you know how they say these BFG KO2s have a, you know, 10 ply or whatever ply tire, excuse me, 10 ply sidewall, and it's a thick side. That's true. That's my point of my rambling here. The sidewall has held up. Oh, I flipped the front tires. That's why I'm not seeing the big gash. So I actually flipped these tires. I dismounted them, flipped them front to back because they wear slightly more on the inside. And so it's even them out. That's what I'm rambling. I did a tire flip. So inside, if you can see, I'm not going to get back there. The sidewall is all gash. Again, well, I'll show you all that when the tire's dead and done. But the sidewall is impressive on these things. So bottom line, this is an update on how a GX460 or a Land Cruiser Prado or a 4Runner, all in the same family, how does it hold up to severe duty? And again, when I say severe duty, I'm keeping it real. I'm not trying to say severe duty, and I'm not saying nonsense like that. What I'm saying is, out here, we have to drive not down a little dirt driveway, but miles of a network of concrete washboard roads, and it destroys people's vehicles. And this happens daily. There's not a day this can't happen to not me, anybody who lives out here. And so I will go ahead and say that it is severe duty for, you know, what do you want to call it? In noise, harshness, vibration. There's no eloquent way to say it. The car gets beat up out here, and I think it's a unique case for people interested in how rugged these things are. Is it perfect? No. I pointed out what? Sunroof, headlight, and the latch. And forgive the latch, that was the dealer's fault, but let's take that away. Take away the latch part, and the headlight and the sunroof. That's been the only issue on these abusive roads out here. And I'm most impressed with the Tokiko shocks, both front and rear. The rears are fine too. That's what blows me away, because the roads out here eat shocks. And I do believe the frame mounted shock absorbers are part of that equation. So it saves the shocks. It saves the shocks, keeps the shocks. It's one less job that the shocks have to do, and it makes them last. And this may not be whatever to anybody, but it counts to that Toyota quality, durability, and reliability. Now again, the new generations of 4Runners and Tacomas, they took out that whole bump stop setup on the frame, and they Mickey Moused it, and there's some issues. But if you're considering a Japanese new generation TNGAF like the GX550, the Land Cruiser 250, or if we're lucky, the Land Cruiser 300 if it comes to America, or the LX600, it's going to have this type of setup. It's going to have those frame-mounted bump stops, at least one. So if there's any point of the rambling of this video, is this vehicle is held up to some serious abuse. And it's very impressive, but again, not perfect, as you can see by the headlight and the sunroof, But overall, there's your update. I'll keep everybody posted on the anything else on the vehicle and the tires when they come off. Also, there's not a rattle inside this vehicle. If there's any rattles that you hear in the videos, it's all the junk that I keep in the back. But that's the other impressive thing, is that the quietness and the, you know, there's just no rattles. There's just no stuff shaking around for what we're on. You know, for going down washboard roads, you don't hear anything. In fact, the only rattle that we do hear is this googly eye of a light, and I'll deal with that down the road. I'll come up with some Mickey Mouse solution or something, or I'll just deal with it because it is what it is. All right, enough rambling. If you got a Lexus GX460, you got a good vehicle, you know, and let's hope that the new generation of GX and LX and Land Cruiser 250, and hopefully we'll get the Land Cruiser 300, is up to these this high quality build standard. So far, very, very impressive. All right, if you found this video helpful, useful, or entertaining, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great, great day.